One thing that I find really interesting is how different people have different accessories. And it's not just because they have different flavors and different countries focus on different things, different training programs. I think there's more to it. Depending on the lifter's leverages, depending on the lifter's body type, is how you come up with the accessories. I think at the top level, there's no point having a universal kind of flavor of what we're going to do after we hit our main movements or whatever. One thing that I've noticed, and I'm not an expert in this, it's something that popped into my head as I was watching videos. Lasha, the weightlifter, they say he's the greatest of all time. Like he's killing everybody, man. One thing that I keep noticing is that he never maxes out his squat. Like, they're projected to be like 400 kilos or something stupid like that, like, or whatever. Like he's an absolute god of weightlifting, strength sports. The man is 180 kilos. Like, this is a bear we're talking about. But one thing that I've noticed with him is that he rarely does front squats. Now, isn't that interesting? Now, if you look at him, what does he have? He's got this huge freaking body, right? But the proportions are interesting to me. I could be wrong by my analysis here, but it looks to me that he has really long legs. And when you watch him lift, his pull, so like, the first part of the lift is so freaking effortless. So when you see somebody with really long femurs, really long legs, somebody that is not built well for squatting, what should he be doing? That's the question. What do you want that long limb person doing? Now, in my experience, when I front squat, I feel my back working the most. I'm also a long-legged lifter. So when I do front squats, I feel it really in my back. Okay? Why should I be doing that? Just by the virtue of me having long legs, I'm going to be better at pulling than I am at pushing, like as in squatting. So I'll have a better deadlift, which I can see my experience. You guys can see my numbers. I'm always going to have a better deadlift than I do have a squat. Now, if you are opposite to me, let's say you're a Chinese weightlifter and you have really stocky legs and a long torso, what should that person be doing? Well, that person should be doing front squats more often, unlike me, because I have inherently a stronger back compared to the rest of me. But the guy with the opposite, leverages, he should be doing front squats. So I shouldn't be doing front squats. He should be doing front squats because he has short legs, I have long legs. So when I think about Lasha, one of the videos that I saw, I can't remember who he was from. This wasn't even recently. It just popped into my head as I was doing front squats today. They were saying that he always back squats. Now, he's a long-legged lifter trying to work on his squats. I presume that he's trying to work on his squats because he gets plenty of work for his back muscles, erectors, all of that stuff when he's doing his actual lifts, because everything that he does is going to be more kind of leaning towards that musculature because his femurs are so long. He's always going to be biasing away from those femurs, away from those quads. I could be wrong when I'm saying this, but I think all legged lifters, long-legged lifters, long femurs in relation to the tibia specifically, but also long legs in comparison to the torso. I think all of those types of lifters should spend majority of their time working on their quads because the quads are going to be hiding from them because of the leverages. Now, if you're a really stocky lifter, really stocky lifter, it makes sense in my mind to do the opposite, which is front squat, because front squat, at least to me, is more back. Now that I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, well, for the guys that are built to squat, it doesn't matter what they do, back or front, they're always going to be using their quads. And that might as well be the case. So maybe we can exclude that population from the argument completely, from this thought process completely. But at least for the long-legged guys like me and Lasha, not that I should be putting myself into the same freaking into the same sentence as that guy, but when I see him, I kind of weirdly see myself in that he's got these huge freaking legs, man. Like his legs he's a big guy. I don't know how tall he is. He's probably nearing 2 meters. He's got these like really long legs, and I think shorter torso. I mean, once again, I could be wrong about all of this, but I just find it interesting how his training team, his coach, is always getting him to back squat. That's at least what I've seen. I don't know. I've never seen his training program. I don't know the intricacies of it, but in this video, which I can't remember freaking who made it. They pointed out how out of all the footage, out of all the training that they've seen, he rarely ever does front squats. It's always back squat. And I think the guy touched in the video was saying that it's probably because he gets plenty of front squatting when he's doing these cleans and snatches or whatever. Like, you know, he's always vertical in his squatting movements. Whereas the back squat allows him to lean a little bit more forward and maybe get more quads out of it. As weird as that sounds, that is not intuitive. But in our opinion, the thing that holds my front squat is the back. Simple as that. You know, I never feel like I'm limited by my quads, ever, when I'm doing front squats. It's, can I stay really upright and push? The upright portion is the most difficult. With back squat, in my opinion, the back squat, the limiting factor for me is the quads. How hard can you push? Because the lean doesn't matter. The bar's not going to drop anyway. It's on your freaking back. You can just push, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And so once the quads fatigue, then you start to really, really lean over, and then you get kind of put out of position. The bar drifts forward off your toes, and then you're either dropping the bar or you're getting freaking your neck snapped. Now, this is just me off the top of my mind kind of thinking about this. I find it really interesting that Lasha does that. And it kind of made me think along the lines of, okay, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, what have I got here? What am I working with here? Have I got long legs, long torso? What is going on? Because it makes no sense to think to yourself, everyone should do this program and work on these accessories. No, man. Like, number one, your leverage is all different, and so you're always going to be struggling in one musculature purely because of the leverage. Like, your body doesn't allow you to engage the same level of quads as somebody with freaking short femurs. It's just simple. Like, if you look at, you know, people with dwarfism, you know, short guys, really, really short guys, you know, their bodies are unlike, you know, the regular type of body. And so what do you see with them? They're squatting ridiculous amounts of weight because they're super, super upright. Their femurs are so freaking short. And so the leverages that they're dealing with is like, you know, they're lifting the weight, but the force at the joint is much, much less. Like, the longer the freaking stick is, the harder and the more force it's going to take, you know, for you to lift something at the end of that stick. It's just the way it is. It's just a you know, observation. I don't know if I'm right. I'm sure some of you guys that are listening to this who've seen a lot more Lasha and Olympic weightlifting, all of that, you might disagree with me or you might shed some light, but I found it interesting how a guy that size, with that proportion, doesn't spend a lot of time front squatting. It could be as simple as that he gets plenty of volume with his cleans, you know, clean and jerks. That could be just the only reasoning that they're using here. But it makes me think maybe there's something more to it. Maybe it's just simply because he wants to target his quads more. And I know a lot of people out there will say, oh, front squats hit more quads. Not for me, man. I know what people say out there, but not for me. Not for me. I've spent a lot of time squatting, and no, it's not for me. What gives out for me in front squats is the freaking back, specifically the upper thoracic spine. That absolutely gets freaking smoked. The core gets smoked, and that's why I stopped front squatting. That's why I max out. It's not the quads. I've never been like, oh my God, the quads are complete. No. Back squats do that for me. So I wonder where, you know, if Lasha is in the same boat as me. He's an incredible puller. Incredible. The bar just feels like he's drifting upwards when he pulls on that thing. So maybe his limiting factor is the catch and then the front squat portion. And so he's like, okay, let me address the quads a little bit so, you know, I can work on that aspect, because I'm forever working on my back. Once again, I could be completely wrong here. He popped into my mind, and I thought I'd share it with you guys and see what bounces back. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.